through leadership and culture. I am very excited to be presenting this topic, and I hope that you are out there listening because this is something that you really are interested in and are excited to learn about as well. Let me give you a little bit of background on who I am. This is less important than the content, but you should know who is speaking to you today. My name is Sharon Smith. I am currently a CISSP and a certified CISO. I previously have had the CEH, CISA, PCI, Qualified Security Assessor, and Certified Fraud Examiner designations through the course of my career, depending on what I was currently doing. I started in the InfoSec field in 2005. I know many of us are calling it cybersecurity today, and that's fine, but I remember when it was good old-fashioned information security. I'm basically working as a consultant and advisor for organizations, whether it's on compliance, strategy, how do we get from no policies to full policies, and many different areas of cybersecurity, information security, governance is where I spend a lot of my time. Very passionate about teams and leadership, which is why we're talking about this today. And I'm also a certified professional coach who often helps focus individuals on leadership development or teams so that they can have a more thriving and successful work environment. I put together a few learning objectives today, but really what I want you to walk away from is with something new. I want you to walk away with something new, something that might spark an idea, something you can take back and start working on today, something that you can further develop. So while these learning objectives are the more formal objectives for the webinar today, really find something, one new thing. Don't try to take too much away because it's really hard to implement too many new ideas at once. Most people don't like change, but for us in information security, cybersecurity, change is all around us. And if we're going to change, we have to get ahead of those who are attacking us. And to do that, we're going to have to solve big problems. We're going to have to be better leaders. We're going to have to come up with more game changers. So let's get started on what that might look like for you. Remember, we all have a story as to why we're here, what we're trying to accomplish. I gave you a little background on who I am. When it comes to culture and security, I've worked for some very dysfunctional organizations and teams and some very toxic environments in my career. And I've seen a lot, even from the outside in, and even when I wasn't on the team. So you may be feeling that yourself, or you may be on a thriving team, which I would congratulate you for. But this is why I focus on leadership, because I want to talk about how we change these dysfunctional or toxic environments and how we become better leaders. And I hope that's why you're here today. So think about what your story is. Think about why you're here today. What is going on that you want to improve? Maybe it's security within your organization. Maybe you want to make a change on a much larger scale within the industry or a specific industry. Maybe you're just here to learn one new thing, new idea, which I think is fantastic. And the fact that you're here tells me that you are someone who's ready to lead. In many organizations today, culture does not support security. And you may feel this, and it's common if you do, you're not alone. You may be familiar with Sisyphus, who was condemned to an eternity of rolling a boulder uphill and watching it roll back down again. And I know many security professionals feel this way. They're constantly working to prevent the next attack, just to watch someone internally cause an incident or circumvent a control and have that boulder roll right back down the hill. And that's often due to lack of culture, lack of security. If you don't have a security awareness program, if people are constantly clicking on phishing emails, if they're storing sensitive data in the wrong places, and not fully aware of what you're trying to accomplish. We're going to talk a bit more about that today, how to change that. So this turns to a lot of burnout. We have a lot of security professionals who burn out because they're constantly rolling that boulder uphill just to have it roll back down on them again. So if you're a leader in this industry, you have a team of people, you want them to stay, you want them to be engaged, you don't want them to leave and get burned out. So how do you do that? How do you become a better leader? How do you help your organization so that your folks don't burn out? That's a big challenge, and that's a big piece of why we're creating a culture of security. So knowing this challenge that I just talked about, knowing that there's burnout, knowing that there's a lack of security culture, the real question is, how do we change that within our organization? How do we help people understand security? the importance of security teams, the importance of their role, and embrace security? That's the real question we have to think about. That's one question for you to walk away with today. Let's start with what the answer is not. The answer is not more technology. We go to lots of conferences or webinars and we get lots of emails. I know I personally get lots of emails or LinkedIn requests from people who want to tell me about their new technology and how their AI is going to fix the problem and how this new technology is going to stop malware and all these magic bullets. Well, there is no magic bullet, and you know that if you're working to protect your organization and you've been in this industry for a while. We know technology is great, but it's not the complete answer. It's really not the answer to the question of how we're going to change culture and security. We don't need another magic bullet. We don't need more blinky lights. We have to help our organizations and people understand that we cannot solve all security problems with technology alone. I believe many people don't see security as their responsibility within organizations because they truly think the IT department has technology taken care of for them. People truly believe that the technology is taking care of security and they don't have to as the business user. People are unaware. And until we solve for that, until we solve the culture issue and help organizations teach their users that the human factor is really what we need to work on and that technology is not the answer. So that's what the answer is not. So you're probably wondering what the answer is. Well, you are the answer. Everyone on this webinar is the answer, but we need to start doing things differently, which is what we're going to spend the rest of our time talking about today. We can't keep complaining about the vendors or the latest breach. We can't keep pointing fingers. We need to start leading, acting, and doing. We need to be the change that we want to see in our companies, or maybe on a larger scale. So this means we also need to change. We need to change the way we think about the problem. We need to change the way we think about how we communicate solutions, and think about the way we partner with the business. We need more leaders or folks like you who can think differently. So let's talk about leadership. Leadership does not always come with a title. You can lead as an individual contributor. You can be an influencer. And we need more leaders at all levels of the organization. We know many great leaders. We've heard of them. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Charles Schmidt, many, Sir Richard Branson, to name a few. They've been game changers in their industry, and we need more game changers. I'm going to challenge each of you to think about how you can become one of the next great game changers. Under leadership, I put communication as the first item. Whether it's the most important or not, you will determine for yourself, but it is one of the top items under leadership that I want to talk about. We need to learn to communicate so our message is clear and understood. There are many ways to communicate. We have phones, email, instant messengers, video, Twitter, Facebook. The list goes on. There's so much social media, I don't even know what half of it is. But in terms of leadership in this context, we're trying to solve for face-to-face, person-to-person communication. That's what we need more of. Because communication is not telling everyone else what to do or how to do it. It's an open and safe exchange of information. It's ideas, it's opinions, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we have to be able to have those conversations and communicate what we need, understand what they need. When something's not going right, communication is critical. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and hope it gets better. We can't point fingers. We can't look back and say hindsight's 2020. We have to be on top of it. We must be able to communicate what is happening, why it's happening, and what can be done about it. Like I said, it's not about finger pointing or laying blame. We hear that a lot after a breach. Someone points the finger at the IT department, the person who didn't patch the server. That's not a solution. That's not how we lead. It has to do with identifying issues quickly, coming up with solutions. That's where we have to communicate. And when communicating with the folks outside of security, those business users, those others that don't understand what we're talking about, it's about clearly communicating the issues and asking for solutions. People are more willing to do what they help come up with. Instead of telling people what to do, people are much more likely to help you if they can help come up with the solution. So if you currently don't communicate well without using technical speak, if you're currently having issues communicating without using technical jargon because that's what you're used to, I highly recommend working on your communication skills. One of my favorite ways to do this is through an organization called Toastmasters. They're an international organization with thousands of clubs internationally. I've been involved for at least 6 years now, and they really help people become better communicators. Part of communicating, part of leadership is listening. Are you listening more than you're talking? Do you understand why the rest of the organization is not following secure practices? Why they don't come to you for help? Why they are shadow IT? Why they're doing their own thing? Are you listening to their concerns? Or have you been the department of no? If security is constantly saying no, 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 they will stop coming to us. We have to be partners. We have to solution. We have to listen. So let me give you a few tips for more effective listening. If you're thinking about what your response is while the other person is still talking, you're not listening. Can you parrot back what they just said? Do you really understand what they're telling you? Can you show them you were listening by recapping what they just said? Don't assume you understand, confirm you understand. Ask clarifying questions. And a clarifying question does not get answered with a yes or no. They're open-ended questions. Tell me more about that. The more they talk, the more they will reveal. And that will help you communicate. That will help you solution. Only when you listen can you help solve their problem. A great way to show someone you're listening and that you care is to say, it's completely understandable that you feel that way about, and tell them what it was. What did you hear? What are they feeling about? Let's talk about some solutions that may work for everyone. Let them know it's normal to feel stressed out about something based on what they're telling you. Make sure that you can recap that for them. Great leaders also share the mission with everyone else. They don't keep it to themselves. They don't decide what direction they're going and then just leave that information off the table. In this picture, I picked because these guys are going down what looks like a potentially dangerous rapid, and they're working together. They have a shared mission, and if they didn't have a shared mission or a shared vision, this would not be safe. They know why they're going in the direction they're going. They know why they're taking a raft versus an airplane. They know what's at stake. They have a shared goal. Does everyone in your organization know why security is important? How it impacts your customers? How it impacts the stock price? How it impacts staying in business? Why everyone must work together? Why it is imperative? Or why are you using certain tools or have a certain policy? Is it understood, or are they just told, follow this policy, do this thing, use this tool, don't do that, don't do this, without knowing why? Do they truly understand where they're going, how they're helping the organization get there? Is everyone on the same team, going in the same direction with the same mission and goal? If the answer to that is no, it is time to start this conversation. I love soft skills. I also love cats. That's why the cat is in here. But I love soft skills, and I think it's something that's most often forgotten, especially when we're talking about technology. You get on webinars, you go to classes, you get certifications, and you learn how to hack systems, how to sniff networks, how to do recon, how to do pen testing, how to do all kinds of things in the technical world. But how often do you stop to think about, how's my communication skills, my writing, my listening? What's my emotional intelligence? Can I get up and speak in public? And public can be a very small group, but can I communicate my ideas clearly? Do I have critical thinking skills? What are my leadership skills? Do I have a positive attitude? What about teamwork? And if you don't think positive attitude or teamwork are soft skills, I challenge you to think about what it's like to work around someone who doesn't have a positive attitude, or how your day goes when you're more negative, or if you go into that meeting with the business and you're in a negative place or they're in a negative place. These are skills. It's hard to be positive when someone is potentially yelling at you or telling you that you're making their life harder. Positive attitude, teamwork are huge skills that have to be learned. And the only way to improve these skills is to admit where we're deficient and learn. So use this list as a starting point. Pick one. What is one skill on this list that you know you could improve on? Read about it. Go to seminars. Hire a coach. Join a mastermind. Talk to your boss. Find ways to improve one at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. I really like this quote. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. So think about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are you leading? Are your actions inspiring others? And how? And if not, how do you change that? These are things for you to think about. So that was about leadership. That's about you and how you interact with others, how you lead. And you may lead at work, you may lead on a small team, you may be leading at home or in an organization outside of work. Leadership is all over the place in addition to leading yourself. But we have to talk about culture because I mentioned early on, we have to build a culture of security. So how do you become an influencer without titles? How do you help an organization, whether you have a title of leader or not? It's all about influencing a culture of security. So these next few ideas, when implemented consistently, will also improve your place of influence. Taking sides. When you communicate within an organization, are you taking sides? Are you on the IT team or the security team and they're on the other side? When you discuss another team in your organization, do you think of them and talk to them as part of your team, part of your organization, or are they on the opposing side? How often do you feel like security is on the opposing side of IT or the business? If you feel this from within the security team, then those outside your team are going to feel it too. So if you want to have influence over others, you need to stop taking sides. You want to bring people into one team. Have you ever gotten on a conference call or maybe even got in a room with a meeting, or maybe in a room, you're in a meeting and someone says, most commonly this happens on conference calls, or maybe you've said it yourself, who's on the call from our side? Or they may say, do you have everyone on from your side? Aren't we here to work as one? Even if it's a vendor on the phone and you still at the end of the day are going to work together on the solution. So why are we taking quote unquote sides? And it's a small change in just the words we use. When we're on sides, our culture supposes that someone has to lose. At least the culture where I live in the US, we love sports, right? We love games. The Super Bowl just happened. We take sides. There's winners and losers because we're so used to competing. So that's this whole idea of sides. It's ingrained with us. So if you're communicating a shared mission, like I discussed earlier, and everyone's on the same team, there are no sides. So this is an idea, a way to start breaking down walls and having more influence. It's a place to start. It's a place to start having the conversation about mission and vision. Who are you there to serve? As an organization, who are you there to serve? Maybe as a security team, you know you're there to serve the organization, but as an organization, who are you there to serve? Customers, clients, other companies, other departments. So everybody has to be on the same team to serve those people. Successful project benefits everyone, and there should be no winner or loser. Everyone is on the same team. So start showing others what this looks like, what it sounds like, and how to share that mission and vision. Talk about team and stop taking sides. I think this is very important. And it leads right into partnering. We need to partner with the business and serve them. Help them understand, teach them, educate, and listen to their needs. The business doesn't know security. It's not their job. The business knows the business. They know what they're selling. They know what they're making. They know what the customers need. We know security, but we need to partner with the business. And we can only do this if we learn how to listen, we talked about earlier, and help them solve their problems. Learn to serve others. Learn to educate. Look at your job as education, educating others. We cannot be seen, as I said earlier, as the Department of No or the Department of FUD, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People are tired of FUD. They've tuned it out. It's everywhere. It's on the news. It's all they hear. If you go and start talking that same talk, they're going to tune you out quickly. We want to be the people that business comes to with their ideas. If they have an idea, or if they hear something on the news, or if they're scared about something or want to understand something, we want them to come to us. But if we're the place where they get the fear, they're not going to come to us. We also need to ensure our security goals and projects directly align with the business goals, which means we have to know what the business goals are. You have to communicate with the business. You have to ask them, what are your goals this year? What are you trying to accomplish? And then how can we help you? How do we add value? Anytime you have a security team member on a project, in a meeting, on a call, make sure they're focused on alignment to the business. We can't just throw security projects at the business without it having any correlation to what they're trying to do. We have to support them. That's what we're here for. The more the business can feel you truly there to help them in their mission, the more you can improve the culture of security. The more they will come to you and want to be your partner. Collaboration. I love the topic of collaboration. When you talk about collaboration, you can collaborate between two people on a team, collaborate between your team and the business. All kinds of collaboration comes to mind. You can collaborate with customers. It's all about coming up with new ideas. It's about innovating. Does the business even know what the real problems are that security is trying to solve? Did we partner with them properly? Do they understand what we're trying to solve and how that helps them? Are we collaborating with the rest of the business? Do they understand what needs to be solved, why it's important, and how to help? Their ideas. We need their ideas. So again, they are bought in. We talked about this earlier. People will help support things they help build. And ideas build upon ideas. So in groups they get together to collaborate, the ideas just get bigger and bigger, and the explosion is amazing because they're coming up with business-centric ideas. You're coming up with security-centric ideas. And somewhere in there, you're going to come up with something that works together really nice and makes everybody happy, or doesn't make everybody mad, at least. Maybe we don't make everybody happy, but we get to a point where we are all working towards the same mission and vision in a way that we are happy about and feel good about. So collaboration. You never know when the person who is filing papers away will have an idea. You never know when the person answering phones will have an idea. There's no stupid ideas. There's no bad ideas. Everyone needs to share what's working, what's not working. And it should be everyone, maybe not in the same meeting all the time, but bring different people into different conversations. Collaborate, learn, teach, build a community, which is my next topic here. Communities are built through sharing and mission and culture. Your organization is a community. And we know that when communities work together, anything's possible. We know that communities who have strong ties and keep up what needs to happen and stay safe and take care of each other thrive. Well, communities that don't, the property values go down. There's more violence, there's more danger. And so you want an organization that's a community that works together. And you need to help bring everyone together. You have to help build that community. And it's going to include your security goals. When people are treated properly, they want to be part of your success. So make them part of your success. Bring them into your community. Don't leave them as outsiders. Again, the security versus everybody else. Bring it into one big community. And gratitude. I think this is missed so often. Think about it. Do you have an attitude of gratitude for those you work with, especially those outside of security? Do you share that gratitude with them? Or do you only talk about what's going wrong? That they clicked on the wrong thing, that malware got in, that they're not changing their passwords correctly? Are you blaming, or are you thankful that they do good work? Do you recognize it when they do something correctly? You should. People want to be recognized. That can mean you recognize a coworker, someone on your project team. You don't have to be a leader entitled to recognize others. Their efforts. Maybe they didn't do the best job, but they worked really hard. Effort is important. People will pay more attention, do better work, and do what's asked of them more often when they know they're being appreciated. Notice when someone does something that adds value to security. Recognize them publicly, whether it's via email, via poster, some way of recognizing people for reporting the phish, for telling you when they clicked on the wrong thing, for coming to the security team with questions, for looking for solutions. Recognize them, but recognize them in a way where other people can see that recognition. Thank end users for their help and cooperation. You honestly can't do it without them, so you should thank them, appreciate them. Again, publicize that gratitude. If a business unit or group comes up with a solution for security, share it with the rest of the organization. Tell them why it's important, why you're so excited about it. People want to be recognized. People crave recognition. People want to know they're appreciated, and you can do that. It costs you nothing. The number 2 reason people work is for acknowledgement. Number 1 is money, but number 2 is acknowledgement. And people will often work harder for acknowledgement than they will for the next raise. So think about that if you're in a leadership or want to be in a leadership position, that acknowledgement and thanks of gratitude, even for just the people on your team, will help you avoid some of that burnout. People will work hard when they are appreciated. So change is up to you. Most people don't actually like change. If we were in a room together and I asked you to raise your hand, how many of you would actually say, yes, I love change? Most people don't. And that's what we're talking about here today, change. Change in attitude, change in communication, change in approach. If we're asking the rest of the business to change, we have to change also. One of those changes is removing the FUD. We have to stop with panic. We cannot keep running around, the sky is falling, chicken little. We have to change the conversation. We have to change how we talk about security with decision makers, because fear, uncertainty, and doubt is not working. They think it won't happen to them, so there's no point in telling them that the sky is falling, because they are going to say it won't happen to us. We have insurance. So we need to remove panic from our stories. We need to talk about preparation, communicate the need for resources so we can be prepared. Just like we're prepared to prevent physical security incidents, we want to be prepared to prevent cybersecurity incidents. Leaders understand physical security preparation. They understand that hurricanes and floods and fires and things happen. So we need to let them understand that cybersecurity incidents will happen too. We don't have to go crazy and scare them, but we do need to get them to understand that we do need to be prepared, right? We need to have incident response. We need to have business continuity. We do want to make sure that if something were to happen, we could continue, right? So we need to do it from a place of not panicking, not scaring them, but we need to make it relatable. They need to understand it. Clear communication, help them change how they think about security. We also have to start having conversations about how security can be a competitive advantage. I don't have all the answers here. I don't have all the time in the world to talk about this with you today, but it's something I want to plant a seed with. I want you to start thinking about, how do we have conversations with our executives or the budget makers and the purse string holders where security actually is competitive advantage? How do we help the organization say yes to what we're asking? How do we change the narrative so they can see that there's a reason to spend money on it, and not because of FUD, but because we can actually say that improving security helps our code, helps us compete better, helps us protect our customers, helps us keep our data safe, helps us get new customers. What is it about security that aligns with their business goals and improves our business? How do we add it to being a competitive advantage? Depends on your business and the industry you're in and what's going on. So you have to think about this specifically for your organization, for your industry, for what you're dealing with. So think about this, have that conversation, and I'd love to hear what you guys come up with. Reach out to me. Another great quote I love, Vince Lombardi: individual commitment to group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, a civilization work. Really, how do we get individuals to become committed to the group effort? As a leader, You have to think about this. You have to empower individual commitment to the group effort. You have to help create individual commitment to security, right? And this, if we're going to translate this into a security, we need individuals, your business users, to help with our group effort of security. And you're going to do this through a lot of what we've talked about, this communication, having a shared mission, creating a team, not taking sides, serving the business, showing gratitude, educating, collaborating, building community, removing FUD, changing the narrative, asking for solutions rather than giving commands. These are some ways you're going to start to change people's minds, help them actually say yes to the individual commitment that you're asking them to make. I know this was a lot of information. I know that there's a lot to think about. This is just scratching the surface. It really comes down to, what do you want to do for your organization, for the community, for the world maybe? How big do you want to go? Start small. Start with one thing. Work on it till you feel good and that you're ready to move on. Teach others and become that leader. You become the leader your organization needs, that our industry needs, that our society needs. Now it's time for questions.